Okay, so first thing I want to show you guys is gradients. Gradient is an awesome way that you can take this kind of flat feeling drawing that you're doing and make it feel more three-dimensional. So gradients, here, I have a circle that I created, but I'm also going to show you, I think I'm just going to do the gradients right here on the actual ice cream scoop so that it really looks more round instead of just looking like a flat ice cream scoop, okay? So the first thing I'll show you here, and then I'll show how I would apply it to the ice cream scoop, okay? So I'm gonna zoom in. This is just a plain old circle that I drew, and right now, when you draw a circle, you notice you have these three boxes over here on the left-hand side of your toolbar that are underneath your color modes there. And this one you've probably used a lot where you say none and it fills it with nothing, right? And this one on the left is the color, that's the solid color. But the one on the middle is by putting a gradient on it, okay? Now there are multiple ways to put gradients on shapes, always in Illustrator, there's always multiple ways to do things. But if I click on this one, it's my favorite way to apply a gradient because what happens is when you click that, it applies it to whatever's in the foreground. So you may also have the situation where if you have your stroke in front of the fill and you push this gradient, it will apply the gradient to the stroke. So that's not really what I want right now. So I'm going to undo that. I'm going to put the fill in front of the stroke here. Make sure that's in front first. Then I'm going to apply the gradient. Now, it's forcing me into black and white mode, right? And I don't want to be in black and white mode. I want to have color here. So it also pops open this window that says gradient here. So we need to set a couple things in order to get this to go into color mode the way we want. So in my gradient window, it's applied to this. You can tell it's applied to this because this is selected. Okay, so make sure the shape is selected. And let's check this window out. Okay, I'm going to close this other one. What we have in this window, if you don't see all of these options, first off, you're going to go into this hamburger menu at the top or whatever you call it, pancake menu, and make sure it says show options, okay, so you can see everything. Second, I am looking at this. I have some presets. I'm not going to use these because I'm going to make my own, but there are some preset gradients there for you. You can also see there's different types. So this one is a linear gradient. That means it's a line that goes across this piece here. If I click on this middle one, that is a radial gradient, so that's like a circle. And I also have this one on the right, which takes a second to think about it, and that's points or lines. This is new, really cool, and I'll show you how to use that later. I'm going to go back to gradient for now, or linear for now. The next thing, again, here is my fill and my stroke. That's the same as what's over here. Is you can change your angle here. I don't really use that very often because I usually do it by hand, but you have this slider bar down here. You can see this actually affects in real time the shape itself. You can move these things around, and then so these at the bottom are your colors, and then this at the top, this little diamond is actually where that transition happens. So it's either, transitioning right in the middle, whatever. All right, I'm going to double click on this white dot over here. Double click, and it's going to bring up this panel. And I'm going to then go into that little drop-down menu on the top right, that hamburger pancake menu, and click on it, and I'm going to set that to a color mode because it's in default grayscale mode. So I'm going to apply RGB here, and now I can pick whatever color I want. And I have to do that for the black as well. So do that for the black dot. And I'm going to also go into this little menu, push RGB, and now I have a color. And so now you can see I got colors. I don't have to do that anymore. Once you've done that to the black and the white, you don't have to reset the colors again. And now you see what happens when you hover your pointer below that line. It is a little plus. I can add as many points as I want here for colors, and I can double click on them. I can make this like a rainbow if I want to. All right, so like I can add double click, just double clicking on this color dot here. And make color. And you can see they go around, you can play with them, it's super fun, all that stuff. And then maybe you look at this and you go like, oh my God, what was I thinking? I don't want all these colors. All you have to do to take those colors off is just drag them off. So I'm just dragging it off. Drag and let go. And it just takes it off. Okay? Another thing you can do is right now, you see how this linear is going straight across like this? You can change that. All I'm doing is I have my gradient tool in my hand right now. And if you're not sure if you have your gradient tool in your hand, it's right here in your toolbar. It looks like a little gradient. You can click on that, or you push the letter G, and you just click and drag anywhere you want, and you can pull that gradient in any direction. You can also move this actual bar. Personally, that is annoying to me. I don't like doing that. I like just pulling a new fresh bar, you know, and then this bar is actually that bar. They are a mirror image of each other. So if you were to move these dots along this bar, you'd see it would affect that, and vice versa. So it's just kind of like a representation of the bar on the actual shape. All right, that's that. Now I'm going to click on this radial gradient because I have a circle here, right? Radial gradient is really where it's at when it comes to making circles look like spheres. So I'm going to relay this, and I'm actually going to go the other way so that the lighter spot is in the middle. I want to flip this gradient. So I see this little thing right here, it flips it. So I'm going to flip that so that the lighter spot is in the middle, and then check that out. Like it, all of a sudden, it almost feels like it is a sphere, like a planet or something, you know, kind of coming off the page. Now, there is a black outline on this. I don't like that. I'm going to take that off. I think that actually detracts from the gradient. I think it looks better without an outline when you're filling a shape. But that's how you use that. So again, I'm on the gradient tool, and I'm just clicking and dragging anywhere I want on this to kind of give that. It almost looks like there's a light source, you know, by having a lighter color here. And if what I just did, see how it did not apply? It's because I did not have the shape selected. So I would select the shape first, then go into the gradient, change it, and you can see. Now you can see how that really looks like a little sphere. And then this other type of gradient that you can apply is called the freeform gradient. This is really nice for things that are like, kind of like if you were doing, let's click this sphere for a second, and I'm going to just add a couple of anchors here. And now what I can do is I just basically change the shape of that sphere, and I'm going to go into this freeform gradient, and I'm just going to drop a whole bunch of dots. Oops, I'm in lines right now. I want to be in lines. And right now they're filling with white. But what I'll do is I'm going to actually hold down Shift and select multiple dots at the same time here. So I'll select them all for now, and I'm going to double click on that color. And I'm going to make them all like red. And then I'm going to come back in, and I'm going to select, or make them a lighter red. I can put this one, make it darker. Oops, the accent. Okay, no, just that one. So I want to get off there and go back on because I want to open select. Here we go. Just that. So this is like a really specific way of making a much more detailed highlights. It's really cool. This is fairly new. It came out like maybe 1 year ago. And you can also click on these and spread them out more so that they take up more space. Really, really fun. You can get addicted, get sucked into the wormhole of it. But yes. I want to make myself feel happy. So you can kind of make things look like they have more texture and that kind of feel with those points. And you also have lines you could use as well with that freeform gradient. By using lines here, it literally is lines, and the gradient follows along that line. But the cool thing is that you can integrate the lines with the points. You can have them both in a shape. So play with that too. So that is gradients. And in a nutshell, that's how you would apply a gradient. The key here is select the shape, apply the type of gradient you want, and then apply it in the direction that you want. And to get it out of grayscale mode, you just double click on these little dots here, and then click on here and set it not in grayscale. Double click here, and then put it into RGB or something like that so that you can have color. All right, I'm going to stop the recording.